Blog Talk Radio.
From the gridirons to the courts, to the links, the fast turns, and the home run. Heard only on Source Radio Network. You're now listening to Sports Tuesday with your host, Steve Manderson. Welcome to Sports Tuesday. I am your host, Steve Manderson. Hope everybody had a great day today. Hope everybody had a great week last week, great holiday, and a great weekend. We are in a brand new year, 2018, and hope everybody made their resolutions, and hopefully whatever resolutions you've made, I hope it comes through for you. For the first show for 2018, we have a good one. Pretty much going to be talking NBA basketball. We're now approaching the third month of the NBA season. But we just got through finishing the NFL regular season. And come next week, we have the start of the playoffs, the wild card playoffs this weekend. So the road to the Super Bowl begins this coming weekend. All right. So to talk about the NBA and the NFL, my guest will be Ronald Agers. He's the Newscast director for WBTV, and he knows his stuff. He knows his basketball. He's been on the show before, so he's no stranger to Sports Tuesday. So hang in there.
Source Nation, you're listening to Sports Tuesday with Steve Manderson. We'll be right back.
Source Radio Network is just one of the many platforms that is used to fulfill dreams of our listeners and create a purpose that will impact the lives of our communities, cities, and the world. It is often said that great things will happen when a group of driven people work together to accomplish one goal. We're giving people the opportunity to have a voice, translate words that haven't been heard, and paint pictures that no one has seen. Source Radio Network is fueling your life's purpose. How can you listen? www.blogtalkradio.com/Source Radio.
Welcome back, Source Nation. You're listening to Sports Tuesday with Steve Manderson.
All right. Let me bring on my guest. He's no stranger to Sports Tuesday, and he's a newscast director for WBTV. He's does a whole lot of other stuff, and NBA is something that he definitely knows a lot about. And last time he was on the show, I had a great time talking with him, and definitely I'm going to have a good time talking with him and with what's going on currently in the NBA. Let me bring on right now Ronald Agers. Ronald, how are you?
Doing all right, man. A little bit under the weather, but I'll be all right.
Oh, boy. Trust me, I got through my colds. I did one show about a couple of weeks ago where I had no voice. I swear, I sounded like the rock singer Ron Stewart. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I know, right?
Hope you feel better. But let's talk some NBA, and I'll tell you, we're now in the third month of the NBA, and there are certain teams that are starting to get a clearer idea of who's going where. Certain teams are headed in the right direction, and other teams right now are heading downhill and sinking really fast. I want to start with the Eastern Conference, and as we see, when you were last here, you brought up the Boston Celtics and how they're doing, and you pretty much were right on. Right now, as we speak, they're 30-10 in the Atlantic Division, and they're doing well. They're doing well right now, and everybody seems to be on the right page. And as Brad Stevens is doing a tremendous job this year. Can they maintain this consistency throughout the season?
To be totally honest with you, I'm not really sure. I'm starting to see a little bit of slippage on the front line. I mean, we already know Kyrie Irving's going to do what he does. I mean, he's a great player. He's an assassin. He's going to be the closer that they need. Where I'm a little bit worried about is where we don't have to worry about the wing players. Jason Tatum, who's been a beast. Jaylen Brown, who's been hurt, and the aforementioned Kyrie Irving. Where I'm looking at is the Al Horfords of the world. Is he going to continue to be tough every single night and be able to get them tough boards down the stretch? I mean, granted, he had a game winner against Houston when James Harden went into his complete meltdown and whatnot that blew the game on national television. But Al Horford only had 9 points in that. He only had 9 points in that game. I mean, he had about 8 rebounds. He didn't really put a stamp on that game. They need him to play well every single night. He got to be that guy. He's got to be that muscle right behind Kyrie Irving. Because after a while, when you get to the playoffs, what are they going to start doing? They're going to start bodying Kyrie Irving up. They're going to start beating on him a little bit more. They're going to start being more physical with him. He's got to have a little bit of muscle behind him to back him up. I thought Aaron Baines would be the guy. He kind of stepped back as well. Last time I was on the show, Aaron Baines was playing kind of well, but now he's kind of taking a step back, in my opinion, on how well he's played, and his minutes are starting to slide back as well. The front line is going to be very, very, very key for the Boston Celtics going into the playoffs. Are they going to go to the playoffs and be a number 1 or 2 seed? Sure. But as you can see, Toronto Raptors are starting to catch up with them a little bit. Cleveland's going to be Cleveland. Isaiah Thomas coming back. We don't know. But for Boston to continue to do what they do, the front line has got to get better.
Now, I mentioned, I was talking about Cleveland and Isaiah Thomas playing tonight for the first time this season. What kind of impact, in your opinion, do you think that Isaiah Thomas will make for for Cleveland at this point, bearing that he stays injury-free at this point?
Well, I'm not worried about him. Excuse me. I'm not worried about him on the injury front. I'm worried about his mental aspect. We realized that he was not happy to being traded. I can respect that because, I mean, what he did for the Boston Celtics franchise last year with his sister and her tragedy and having that hip injury that he has now. And for them trading him away, he still feels salty about that. We need to see if he can move on from the hurt of being traded. We haven't seen him play. I mean, if he doesn't play well, that's the first thing everybody's going to say. Has he fully gotten over the trade? Is he mentally there? Does he still want to be in Cleveland? You still have to learn how to play with LeBron. LeBron James, you still got to learn how to play with him. He's got to learn how to play without the ball in his hands. He had the ball in his hands, 90% of the time in Boston? That's not going to happen in Cleveland. Yeah. LeBron James is going to have the ball a lot, even with the second unit. D. Wade's going to have the ball a lot. So it's going to be, can he deal with being a spot-up shooter at times in Cleveland? That's what we're going to see in the first 10 games. Look, in the first 10, 15 games, he's not going to be the Isaiah Thomas that we saw of the MVP candidate of last year. That's just not going to happen because you have to have rhythm, you have to have your timing back, and you have to learn your teammates. He didn't have a training camp, and he didn't get a chance to practice as well as anybody would like with his teammates, to learn his new teammates or the offense he's got to run. So that's what we're going to be looking at for the next 10 to 15 games. I'm not worried about his health. I'm worried about his mental aspect.
Man, good point. Good point. Now, speaking of Dwayne Wade, he seems to be adjusted into his role as coming off the bench. Now, his numbers have picked up over the last few weeks, and I think at this point his contribution is going to be very valuable coming off the bench, especially now with Derrick Rose. What is his status? Is he going to retire or what? Because he has been a non-factor at this point.
Let's answer Derrick Rose question. Get this out the way. Honestly, I have really no clue. I don't think Derrick Rose is going to be in the Cleveland Cavaliers. Fans, let's not look for him. Now that Isaiah Thomas is back, Derrick Rose was probably going to be a stopgap for the Cleveland Cavaliers until Isaiah was back anyway. Now that he's back, if you haven't seen Derrick Rose anyway, he said he's already had bone spurs in his ankle. Well, let's not look for him next year. And with the trade deadline coming up, they probably could use him in a trade. I've heard floating around rumors that in a pretty good trading scenario is DeAndre Jordan for the Clippers. Think about this: Tristan Thompson and Derrick Rose and a couple of boxes of Newports and Puma sweats. Send them to the Clippers for DeAndre Jordan. And if that happens, DeAndre Jordan coming to the Cavaliers for that rim protection and rebounding and whatnot, playing with the Cleveland Cavaliers, they could be the odds-on favorite to come out of the Eastern Conference to go to the NBA Finals. I picked Boston. I've been picking Boston all year long, but if they could pull that trade off, there you go. Because you got to think about this: the Clippers are not going anywhere. I'm really shocked that Doc Rivers is still a coach at this point. They're playing a little bit better. Austin Rivers is playing better, but they're not going anywhere. With them not going anywhere, you need to offload some of these heavy contracts. DeAndre Jordan is a pretty good contract to get rid of. Get some players in and move on from there. Cleveland can get a good strong rim protector and is athletic that can run with LeBron, J.R. Smith, and all these thoroughbreds that they have in Cleveland. They could do some things.
And the thing is, Kevin Love now could shift back to the power forward spot, which will free him up to score even more than he does. You know, he won't take the pounding in the middle that he's been getting. So, yeah, that would be an awesome deal if that happens. But here's the thing, too, with Derrick Rose, how much value can you get for him at this point? His body is broken down. He's definitely not the same player that he was in his first two seasons. So I don't know how much you could get back for him, you know.
Right now he's on a minimum wage. He's on a minimum wage contract by NBA standards, 1 year, $2 million. But right now he's just a salary cap filler for a trade at this point. I think basically, and you got to think about something. Look at how dynamic he was around his MVP years. I mean, the crossover, the explosion in his legs, that was his entire game. And now that is gone, he hasn't made adjustments to his games. You notice when Jordan came back from his first retirement, he developed a fadeaway. Yeah. Kobe Bryant did the same thing. Dirk Nowitzki has that step back where he sticks his leg up. These are just adjustments to the game where your body is not capable to do the things when you were younger. Derrick Rose didn't do that. He just can continue to depend on his athletic ability and that crossover to get to the basket. He can't finish like he used to. And I was watching something on YouTube this past weekend. Do you remember that dunk he had on Goran Dragic when he was with the Phoenix Suns, where he just jumped and his head was all at the rim and he just threw the ball through?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If anybody is listening to this broadcast, just look at that YouTube clip. That alone is probably what Derrick Rose is thinking. Man, this is something I used to could do, or how he dropped Andre Miller, who is one of my favorite players of all time, to the floor on a crossover. The things that he could do, and nobody could stop him. And now it's to the point that he can't get past anybody. I mean, it can be depressing to him, and I think that's weighing on him and the frustration that he has. And I don't really think he can come back from this, because it's all about mental aspects when it comes to basketball. If you're not confident in your game, the world's going to know it. And what's even worse, when he took that time off from the Cleveland Cavaliers, he let the world know that he's no longer confident in his game.
Oh, that's a shame. That was a hell of a talent when he came in the league, I'll tell you that much. He was headed for some greatness. But that's how it goes. It is what it is. Focusing on in the Western Conference, Stephen Curry returned, and his first game back from the sprained ankle. Guy hits like 10 threes. Didn't lose a beat, and actually Golden State didn't lose a beat at all in his absence. This is a team right now that eventually you could count on them pretty much at least in the Western Conference Finals, although they're going to have some stiff competition with the Rockets. But as great a season as the Rockets are having this year, they're still not playing defense, and it's going to be their downfall once playoff time begins. And D'Antoni is one of these coaches that all he is offense, and it's going to be, in my opinion, the same situation at the end of the season. They're going to be done.
Let's be clear. Golden State in 6 in the NBA Finals. I don't care who plays in the finals. I said that when it first got started. I'll say it again now. Now, for the Houston Rockets, I remember doing another show, and they were saying, who's your top 5? And I remember not saying Houston, and I got tore up for it. Here's why.
Wow.
The Houston Rockets do not play any defense. I don't care. They don't play any defense at all. D'Antoni is not a defensive coach. That's why Houston will never have a Golden State is not scared of Houston Rockets. Why? Because the Golden State Warriors are a top 5 defensive team.
That's right.
I mean, everybody loves the 3-pointers. Everybody loves Kevin Durant slashing through Duncan. Everybody loves Steph in his threes, Clay in his threes, Draymond Green jumping around, yelling and screaming. But they all play defense. That's why they win. Defense wins championships. Rebounding wins rings. That's what happens. That's why Golden State is the best team in the league. They're one of the top scoring teams in the league, but they also defend. Why do you think they go on these 12-0 runs or 14-0 runs every half? They turn it on in the third quarter or into the second quarter. They finish their quarters strong. They finish half strong. Let's be clear. Steph Curry could have come back.
That's true.
Probably about a week and a half earlier if this was the playoffs. But for what? They're 29-8. They're probably they're the number 1 seed. They're the best team in the league. Everybody is chasing them. Daryl Morey, the general manager of Houston Rockets, says he's obsessed with catching them. And now James Harden is out for at least 2 weeks with a hamstring strain. So now what are they going to do?
That's going to be a problem.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, there's going to be. We're going to see a little slippage with the Rockets in the next couple of weeks, because now all you have to pick up the slack scoring-wise is Trevor Ariza, and he is no James Harden, nor is he Chris Paul. So
no,
he can hold his own, but he can't carry the team. That's for sure. Are you surprised how well San Antonio has done this year, and especially not having Kwame Leonard for most of the season. Are you impressed with the way Popovich has handled this team? And they're 25-12, and they're on the verge of going into first place in the Southwest Division. How impressed are you with the Spurs?
I ain't impressed, but that's just what they do. They've been doing this for 20 years. Greg Popovich has a system. That organization is so fine-tuned. This is just what happens. They bring in people that fit their system, and that's the way it is. And they mentor, and it's almost like a mentorship program from the Ford and Chevrolet dealerships in the old days, in the glory days of factories. They get somebody that knows the system. They teach the younger people, and they keep right on going. It just keeps right on going. Kawhi Leonard, like I said, if it was in the playoffs, he'd be playing. But guess what? They're going to bring him along slowly and make sure he's back the way they need him in the playoffs. But the system is run so well, the offense, and they also defend. LaMarcus Aldridge has got on the same page with Greg Popovich. They had a talk over the offseason. Greg Popovich took the heat. He said, listen, hey, I didn't coach him well. I didn't get to know this guy, and if I didn't get to know him, how am I going to coach him? That gives LaMarcus Aldridge a whole lot of confidence. Because you got to remember, last year they were thinking about trading him. So
yeah,
with him having a renaissance, Pau Gasol has actually played well. They're just that team is just so well put together, and is around good players that enjoy being around each other. Same thing with Golden State. They work hard, and they work hard together. And they're just a sum of their parts. And to be totally honest with you, as long as Greg Popovich, man, they can get 5 guys off the street, and they can get a 25-12 record. That's how good they did. That's how good a coach he is.
Yes, that's it. 4-time Coach of the Year, 5-time champion. That is true. As you know, when we last spoke, one of my favorite teams this year, and I talked about them from last year, the Minnesota Timberwolves right now are in command of that Northwest Division, 10 games over 500, and they seem to mesh together. Tom Thibodeau has done a great job. Every time I look at the box scores now, I see all 5 starters in double figures in their wins, and Karl Anthony Towns, I'll have to start calling him Mr. Double-Double, because every time I look, he's double figures in scoring and double figures in rebounding. I know this team is not ready to challenge Golden State, and it might not be for at least another year or two, but I'm impressed at the direction that they're headed, and they're actually playing a lot better defense than they've done in the past. What's your opinion?
I have to disagree with you a little bit. Granted, they're at first place and they're doing well, but I hate the way this team is being run. You got Andrew Wiggins, Jimmy Butler, Karl Anthony Towns. You got all of these thoroughbreds. Jeff Teague, but he just got hurt. You got all Tyus Jones. You got all of these thoroughbreds and athletic players. They got to speed up the offense. I watched the game over the holidays on TNT, and it seems like they wait so long to get into their offense. It's like the shot clock was going down inside of 5 seconds at least 20 times during the game. You can't do that. He's got to continue to look at what he has on the bench. Notice they're athletic. Andrew Wiggins is not a great jump shooter in the half court. You got to speed the game up a little bit. Speed him up a little bit. Also, he cannot fall into the trap of what he did in Chicago of running these players to death. In other words, playing them 40, 45 minutes and running. And you have to stop that, because guess what? You're seeing hamstring strains popping up all over the league right now. Damian Lillard had his hamstring strain. We already talked about James Harden. Eventually, it's going to start with these guys. And if Jimmy Butler, who is balling out of his mind right now, if he gets hurt, it's going to go right back to the way it was before. They're doing well now, but
if Towns gets hurt.
Yes, so Thibodeau is going to have to change.
Yeah.
And let me speak on Towns real quick. He's going to have to get better on the defensive end. He does not defend the low post well. He's got to do a better job of defending and getting a little bit tougher. Taj Gibson is a good guy to help clean up some of his mess, and I guess that's why he's still starting. But they're going to have to do a bit. They got to speed the game up. They just got too much talent and too much athleticism on that bench and on that team in general to be playing as slow an offense that they're playing right now. I get you got to be a defensive coach, and their defense is going to have to get better too. They're struggling on defense as well. Thibodeau's going to have to figure this thing out. He's going to have to figure it out. He had a lot of veterans in Chicago. We got to remember that. He does not have Derrick Rose, and I mean that superstar Derrick Rose to bail him out this time around, and he doesn't have that defensive presence in Joakim Noah like he did in Chicago. The personnel is different. He's going to have to adjust his priorities for the personnel that he has in Minnesota. Yeah,
good point. The Knicks situation right now, they're 18-18, and pretty much, in my opinion, I can see them being a 500 team all season for the simple reason they don't win on the road. Okay, they're 3-13 on the road, and that's not going to get it done. They're 3-12, I think, on the road. But the bottom line is they do well at home. They're in the top 5 in terms of their home record. But if you can't win on the road, I don't see them having any kind of shot of making the playoffs, not even as an 8th seed. And Porzingis, right now, he's playing well, but, he's not playing with the start that he had in the beginning when he was having consecutive 30-point games. He's constantly hurt, the elbow, the ankle, the knee. He's going to be continuing to miss games. This could be a problem for the Knicks down the road.
I mean, I don't know why anybody was shocked. I mean, certain things I was saying on the radio, I was getting killed for that too. Porzingis, I mean, he's not that big, to be totally honest. What is he, 7'3", 230 pounds soaking wet?
Yes.
He's the number one guy. They're going to beat him up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're going to have to beat him up, and he's the number one guy in the number one city in the NBA. So the number one market. I saw this coming. I mean, he's a great player, but I always thought if you kept Carmelo around a little bit longer, maybe we could. You can like I said with San Antonio, the mentorship. Let Carmelo show him how to deal with New York, the media, how to deal with the pressures of being the number one guy in New York, because it's not easy. We got 35, 40 games now. Now you get to see what happens at the back end of the season. We're in the dog days now. Now he really got to go in the night-to-night grind, and you know his body was going to break down. I knew this was going to happen. And on top of that, I got to disagree with you. They're not going to be a 500 team. No team who Jarrett Jack is your starting point guard is going to be a 500 team. Sorry. Jarrett Jack is not the point guard you need if you want somebody to be if you want to be successful in this league. And that's period, point blank. I understand Ramon Sessions is worse. I wish Ramon Sessions would start, but he's not good enough to beat out Jarrett Jack. They really don't have a point guard right now, and that and the point guard that they drafted. Obviously, he's been put into the broom closet because he's the last link to Phil Jackson.
Yeah. He'll come along, but it's not going to be this year, though. That's for sure. And Tim Hardaway Jr., we don't know if he's coming back at all with that stress reaction in his leg. He's about another major injury away of being out for the rest of the year. And right now, they don't know when he's coming back. So there goes your $71 million investment, and it's not off to a good start at all. But, it is what it is. And you got Joakim Noah, the other one, $72 million, and he's only played 5 games so far this season. So that's $140 million that right now has become a complete mess. I would have never gave that contract to Hardaway, nor would I would have gave that kind of money to Noah at this point.
But see, you got to understand something. That front office of the New York Knicks has been a catastrophe for years. I mean, Phil Jackson was bad, but Phil Jackson was bad. But you know something, we got to think about Isaiah Thomas, and even when the New York Knicks made the playoffs with Jason Kidd, Sheed, and all those guys for that 1 year that Melo took them to the second round, Donnie Walsh put that squad together, and they ran him off. Okay, and even the New York Knicks management messed up how they brought Carmelo Anthony in the first place. They traded away Danilo Gallinari. They traded away Wilson Chandler, Landry Fields. They traded away young assets to get a guy in that was coming anyway. You wait 3 months, you get Carmelo Anthony with no problems, but you traded half your squad away to get him into a Knicks uniform 3 months early. So that's just the essence of the front office of the New York Knicks. Did they overpay Tim Hardaway Jr.? Yeah. And for a guy that actually played well for all of 6 weeks in Atlanta? Sure. Joakim Noah, that's on Phil Jackson. That's just a Phil Jackson thing. They're actually playing him now so they can showcase him so they can get rid of him.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, good luck with that, though. I'll tell you that much, because whoever wants to get him, they're not going to assume that contract. That's going to be up to the Knicks. So the Knicks got a little tough situation there. One final thing before I let you go, and I appreciate you coming on. Jahlil Okafor recently traded from Philly to the Nets. He's only played one game since he's been a Net. Had 10 points, 4 rebounds in that game, in his first game in uniform. Hasn't played since. Now, my thing is, I could understand the idea of you learning the system and all that, and you can take it slowly. But the other one that was in that deal, he's already been playing. And that would be Stauskas. He's already been playing and producing. Why is it that Okafor is not playing? They didn't play him in Philly, which is the reason why they got rid of him. But I think that he's not in shape. And if that's the case, it's going to be downhill for him once again. And my thing is, does he have a future in the NBA, let's say, beyond this year?
If he's out of shape and basically short, yeah, you can believe it. His career is basically done in Brooklyn. Here's the problem with Jahlil Okafor. It's sad that he got stuck with Sam Hinkie in the process. He was a casualty of that. But here's the problem. His game doesn't fit into today's NBA. They need power forwards to stretch the offense. If you can't shoot threes, and that's just the way it is, if you can't shoot threes, you're not going to play. He's not big enough to defend. He's not, he's just, if he was in 90, and you remember back in the days with Clarence Weatherspoon and Byron Houston, they used to call them tweeners? Well, he's also a tweener. He's too small to guard big power forwards, but he's too slow to guard small forwards. That's part of the problem. But now, today's NBA has changed. Everybody got to be able to shoot. You got to have a specialty. You got to have an identity. Something got to happen that's going to get you on the floor. He doesn't defend very well, and he doesn't shoot very well. He's just not going to play. And if he's out of shape, Brooklyn's going to figure out why the Sixers got rid of him and wasn't going to let him play.
I think they've already figured it out because, who knows when he'll be able to be on the hardwood floor, and it's a shame. I mean, I guess, when he was at Duke, he did well, but, we've seen this time and time again. What you do in college doesn't necessarily transform into success in the NBA. It is what it is. Yeah. But by the time, I thank you very much because I know you got to go. I thank you very much for coming on again. You're always welcome here. And I will definitely touch base with you down the road as the season progresses.
All right. Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
All right. Take care. Source Nation, that was Ronald Agers. And talking NBA basketball, and he tells us straight. That's what I love having him on. He tells us straight with today's players, and we didn't get into OKC, but that's all right. That'll be for another time, and they're not doing much anyway to talk about anyhow. But as far as Jahlil Okafor goes, is young player like that, and to me, I don't see him in the NBA beyond this year. He's going to be one of these guys that he's going to get traded practically every year. One of those guys that plays for 4 teams in 5 years, that kind of thing, and that's not good. That is not good. All right, I thank Ronald for coming on. That is it for me. My first show back for 2018. Again, Happy New Year to everybody, and hope 2018 is good for all of you. So until next week, as I always say, be good. Take care, everybody.
Yours.